What's going on, friends? Today I'm going to be comparing the pros and cons of the Nintendo Switch Pro controller, the PowerA wireless enhanced controller, and the 8-bit Do Sn30 Pro Plus, so you can see which one's right for you. I'm Shippy120, and for more Nintendo Switch discussions, news, and reviews, hit that subscribe button and remember to tap the bell icon so you don't miss any notifications. Let's go! Okay, first we're going to look at the Nintendo Switch Pro controller because it's the one that most people know and it's straight from Nintendo. It's also the most expensive, coming in at $69.99. It includes HD Rumble and Amiibo support, which is the only one out of the group that does. It's more of in the style of an Xbox controller, and it uses USB-C for charging, which it can also use to connect directly into the dock for a wired connection. There are no removable batteries here, and they say it takes about 6 hours to charge, but lasts 40 hours. I gotta say, this feels good in the hand. This isn't exactly a rubber here on the handles, but it is a different type of material that's not as slick as the rest of it, so it does help give you a little bit of grip. And overall, I have huge hands and it's still a pretty good feel for me. The L and R, they feel good. They click in perfectly fine. There's a little bit of travel before they click, so I will say that. ZL and ZR do feel really good though too for triggers. The sticks feel nice. They've got some good travel for playing first-person shooter games. You should be able to have a little bit more precision. They don't feel super grippy though. They've got a little bit of grip, but honestly, it does feel like my fingers do kind of slide off of them a little bit. You can see a couple screws there. And yeah, we can't remove the back or anything, so you can't take out the battery. And one thing to note is that this home button will actually wake up the console just like the Joy-Con will. D-pad, it's better quality than the D-pad on the Switch Lite. It has a little bit of mush to it, but not bad. It's got a decent amount of click to it. These face buttons, though, are where I do have a little bit of an issue. The Joy-Con are very springy, very low travel. You know when you've hit the button and when you haven't. On the Pro controller, it feels like there's more travel. It's a little bit of mush. You have to assume that right when you push down, you've pressed it. There's not a big obvious click like there is on the Joy-Con where you just know that you've hit the button. These buttons are flat. It's a little different to me, and the buttons are really big. So the fact that they're just big and mushy and flat, it just seems odd to me. It's definitely doable, but I bought these controllers because I'm on the mission to find the best one. Okay, next up we have the PowerA Enhanced Wireless Controller at $49.99. It has no Rumble or Amiibo, but it makes up for this by being less expensive and including buttons on the bottom of each handle, which you can map to other buttons. And it comes in a bunch of different Nintendo designs for you to choose from. The enhanced wireless controller is powered by 2 AA batteries, which they say gives you 30 hours of playtime. The home button on this one will also wake up the Switch. Now, this is the Doom 25th anniversary one. I actually spent about a week trying to decide on which design I wanted. I am very, very happy with this design. So I can tell you right off the bat, it feels lighter than the Pro controller simply because of that lack of Rumble and Amiibo support. Also, the plastic, like people have said, it's a lot more smooth, which does kind of give it that, you could kind of say, cheaper feeling. It does have a little bit more bulk in the hand, and having big hands like I do, it's actually not too bad. Now, whenever I hold it with my palms, something about it feels, for my hand, is a little less ergonomic. It's just about the shape, how the shape of the handles go, but it's not a deal breaker. It's not the end of the world. These buttons though, dude, these buttons, I don't know if you can tell, but they're way less mushy than the Pro controller. So these buttons are great. I will say the sticks are very springy. Now, they are lacking even more grip than the Pro controller. I do kind of feel like I'm sliding around, but again, that'll actually change once I use it a little bit as well. Now, of course, there's a trade-off. These L and R buttons, they do not feel as good at all. Like, I'm sure they'll work. They're a little loose. They click in perfectly fine. They're very tactile. I think it's just about the way when you lift up your finger, they have a little bit of looseness. And then if you compare this to the Pro controller, the triggers, they're fine. The triggers are very doable. They just don't go back. They don't go in. as much. Yeah, D-pad's fine. The D-pad feels very similar to the Pro controller, and you've got the paddles on the back, and I can feel those whenever I'm holding it. I feel like I might accidentally click those. I feel like I might accidentally use them, but hopefully not, as long as I just don't get too intense and squeeze the controller. And it also actually kind of feels like it could be a pretty satisfying kind of fidgeting thing. I don't mind it. I could see myself clicking around on there. I'll have to actually do some play testing on this. The plus and minus buttons, they are raised up a little bit. You've got your home button and you've got your capture button. They're not very flush either, but at least when you're playing, you know when you're hitting them. Overall, not a bad controller. I can tell why it's popular. For some reason, I do wish that it was heavier in the hand. I understand why it's not, and some people might like that. I mean, maybe technically there's gonna be less player fatigue. Who knows? Now let's take a look at the newest controller of the group, the 8BitDo Sn30 Pro Plus, coming in at $49.99. This one has rumble, although it's not very strong. It's definitely not HD rumble, but I will say, me personally, I think rumble is usually way too strong, so I'll probably like this. I'm really excited about this one with its retro style D-pad. It's more in the style of a PlayStation controller meets Super Nintendo. And what's neat is that you can completely adjust the stick and trigger sensitivity. You can customize button mapping too and create different profiles with different settings. This one gives you 20 hours of gameplay with a 4-hour charge, making it the shortest battery life of the group. Cool thing here is you can actually pop in some AA batteries too if you're in a pinch or if you just prefer batteries. Gotta love the versatility with this controller. Yeah, so there's some texture to this guy. Okay, and there's some heft to it. Oh, okay, and your hands, they do slip right into it. Oh, look at, what is this? It's got some stickies on it. Very quality here. The D-pad does feel authentic. For playing 2D games, playing some Celeste, things like that, this D-pad could be awesome. So texture on this D-pad is awesome. That's not really something you would think about, but it's great texture. I will say it takes a little bit of muscle to click in though. So some people may like that, some people may not like that. So I'm not sure how I feel with that. And then these buttons, although these do feel super high quality because it's rubber, reminiscent of Nintendo controllers, you can't really tell 100% when it's a click and when it's not a click. Like, I bet you when you hit it, you'll be just fine. What's cool is it does tell you, so it says start and select, but it also has the minus and the plus there, so you do know what it correlates to. And it's not a big thing, but yeah, those buttons do feel kind of weird. And you can do full customized button mapping, but you know, this would be for your share, this would be for your home. Of course, it doesn't have to be that way. The home button on this one will not wake up the Switch. And here's the sticks. I never was a PlayStation guy. I never was a PlayStation player. This would be a little weird for me to get used to this. Now, maybe your other console is a PlayStation. Maybe you love it and you feel right at home. I will say this grip does feel great. On these sticks, there is a little bit of texture that goes around the whole stick, which is kind of nice. I will say these do have pretty decent grip. Buttons feel super solid. I want to say out of the group that we've tested, these do feel really, really good. These top ones are concaved, these bottom ones are convexed. They have a little bit of grip to them, which actually could be good. It also could be bad. There's a little bit of resistance jumping from button to button. It could come in handy, who knows? So these L and R have a very hollow sound, very hollow feel to them, but they click in very nicely. Again, it feels pretty retro. What I don't like is the L and R, they go all the way down. It doesn't feel good. You never feel a click on there. It does feel kind of small. I feel like I need to have something extra over here, but I don't know. I really do like the grip. I really like this texture. So it's got a little bit of texture to it, and that really makes it feel right at home. I'm gonna have to do some testing on this one though. I'm not 100% on this controller just because I'm not a big PlayStation guy, so that does feel kind of weird. As far as quality goes, this definitely feels like it's got the best build quality. Also, if you're playing retro games, I definitely would recommend going with this one. It's a Super Nintendo controller essentially, but then it also gives you the versatility of playing 3D games. Definitely gonna be rocking some Donkey Kong Country with this one. So there are pros and cons to each one. It all just comes down to what's gonna be the best one for you. Me personally, I'm gonna go with the PowerA Enhanced Wireless Controller. I just think that these buttons have the best feel to them. They are very clicky, and actually even the D-pad, it just works the way that I want it to. I can't say that I'll be using the shortcuts on the bottom of the controller, but it's nice to have just in case. Which controller do you like best? Drop me a comment below and let me know. I'm really curious to see if everybody picks one controller over the other. If you liked this video or you got something out of it, hit that subscribe button. And if you like unboxing videos, I have a couple other ones. Just hit that box on your screen and I'll see you over there. Is that pizza or not? That's pizza, bro. That's pizza Sunday, my little dudes.